Hello people, New Year's Day today, 2019, and what I'm going to do is move this Stella cherry tree. So a little bit about this tree. Now it's on a minarette rootstock, which means if you think of this sort of as the main branch of a tree, the rootstock is dwarfing and the minaret grows upright like a vertical cordon, and it puts the spurs out like that, and that's where you get your fruit on. So as I stated before, if you think of like a branch on a cherry tree, you know, with spurs off of it where the fruit come from, in a way you can think of this as sort of almost a grafted branch, so to speak. So yes, it's a nice tree. I've been in possession of it for about 5 years, I think, one way or another. The place it was before, it didn't really thrive. The soil was poor, it was close to a hedge, and yeah, I just didn't really like it there. But since I put it in here, it's put a lot of growth on, and if circumstances were different, I could leave it in here. But we've got the grapevine there. That's a Californian variety, so ideally it needs to be in here, and of course the peach tree as well, which really needs to be in here due to avoidance of peach leaf curl. So yes, this needs to be put somewhere else. One good thing about having it here, of course, is when it fruits, the birds, you know, they can't get in unless the door's open to eat the fruit. But it's got to go. I've got my geraniums growing here currently, and I'm going to be getting another growing area here, another one of these sort of shelving units, so that I can start growing some more plants in here. So basically I need the space. So what we're going to do is just have a closer look at the tree, and you can see just how nice it is. Right, so just a little bit about Stella. I've spoke about it before, but what Stella is it is a Canadian variety of cherry, and I believe it was the first self-fertile cherry to be introduced to the UK. So a bit of history attached to it, and you can see the rootstock here, and where the graft or the bud was here. So yes, it's done very well, nice and upright, thickened up considerably, and yeah, so you can see like this was growth here to there, and then of course you could see at the top of the polytunnel here, you know, if it was staying here, of course I'd have to prune it or train it so it wasn't at risk of piercing the polytunnel. I really don't want that. But yes, so a lot of growth here, right in the gangway, of course, got to go. And these bits probably demonstrate, you know, this bit here, look. So if where my finger is, see there, that's the tip, all the way to here. It grew that in 1 year. So yeah, quite or one growing season, so quite significant growth there. Nice healthy looking trunk, looks lovely. So yes, I imagine this will thrive very well where I'm going to put it. Okay, so it's going to go in here. Now you can see that I'm currently using this as sort of a vegetable patch, and actually, now considering the soil here is not particularly great, there's a lot of stone, sandy stone in it, and you get the idea. But I enriched it with you know, some compost and stuff like that, sort of like a no-dig style. I've got a lot of videos on no-dig if you're interested, so check them videos out, that playlist out, if you know, if that floats your boat, so to speak. But yeah, so kale here, chard, and spinach as well, and it's done very well. And you know, yeah, in a way I don't really want to dig a lot of it up this early on, because it will continue to perpetually produce throughout the winter. So I'm going to be clearing a hole here in the middle. I'm going to be picking the kale that's still edible, so to speak, and put it in the bucket here. But yeah, it's going to go here, and what I want this to be, as I stated in my video yesterday, if you saw it, I want this to be like a very small fruit bed. So a few things. I'm going to have a cherry here, maybe probably in the middle, and I might have some strawberries or some raspberries, something like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So there you go, gained a little bit of kale off of that, so I'm going to take this in and wash it and probably boil it up and eat it. So there we go. But you can see what I've done now. I've freed up a little bit of space there, so going to be digging a hole there shortly. Okay, so going to begin the job of moving this tree soon. So it's a deciduous tree, basically meaning the leaves fall off in the colder months. So the leaves fall off in autumn, stay off throughout winter, and it will proceed to leaf out in the spring. So basically you move fruit trees during the dormant season. So around this time of year, I like to wait until after Christmas, like January, February, so that the tree truly is, you know, dormant, well at rest, because it's a bit like, you know, whilst it's at rest, you can move it safer. You know, the tree's not putting out energy into growing, fruiting, flowering, leafing out, so to speak. So at rest is when you move fruit trees to different locations. So going to start the job now, and the equipment I'm using: spade, fork, tools that the majority of gardeners hopefully have, and another one is, now this is very good, otherwise known as a post hole digger, grafter, whatever, long arm, and this was about £15 including delivery. All three of these are Spear and Jackson, which I think make very good hand tools, but and for £15, if you like to do a bit of work at home or whatever, you know, digging holes for fence posts or digging roots out or moving trees, whatever, great bit of kit. And one good thing about it, because it's long, is if you suffer from a bit of backache, you can, you know, you don't have to bend over too much. So yes, great bit of kit, but just be careful you don't put too much effort into, you know, because you can bend these, so be very careful. But so post hole digger, long arm, grafter, whatever you want to call it, spade and fork, and we are now going to start the job. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see that clearly. Just going to move the old net curtain here. You should be able to see, if I zoom in a bit, you can actually see the, there you go, come out a bit, that's it, you can actually see the old rootstock there a bit clearer. So basically what I want to be doing when I'm doing this is taking out as much of the root as possible. I really don't want to be, you know, smashing roots up. I mean, you might get away with it, you might not, but I don't want to. So not much room to work here, so I'm going to come down and I'm just going to see what how far this tree is in. So I put this in a couple of seasons ago. Cool, it certainly has taken root, one must say. Just trying to remove it without destroying everything. So I'm just going to turn the camera off now, because I think I'm going to be here a little while. Right, I think I'm nearly there. Been a little bit of a pushing and shoving, but try to get as much of the root ball as possible, and of course I'm trying not to pull it too hard the other end, so that I proceed to rip the plastic of the polytunnel at the top. But if there's ever a lesson in thinking of long-term plans when you are planning your gardening, this could well be it for you. And this really has, I mean, I'm glad of it, but it's really taken root, this. So going to carry on getting it out. Okay, so there it is. Putting the light up a bit on the old camera here. There you go. So you can see how fibrous these roots are. So I'm quite happy with you know, how the roots go. They really have grown considerably since I put this in. But yeah, so I've tried to be not to be too destructive with taking it out. Obviously there has been a little bit of damage to the roots, but still plenty of fibrous ones on there. So I'm hoping that this is going to be okay. Should we have a look at the aesthetics of this operation? Look how beautiful that looks. Tree in the middle of the polytunnel. Okay, so I'm going to dig the hole can see the growing medium that I put on the top here. I'll show you. So yeah, the growing medium that I used, I can't exactly remember what was in it. Potting compost, organic compost, grass cuttings and leaves, I believe. See how nice looking that growing medium is, and this shows one of the benefits of building soil quality. And when I get down, I'll show you what the soil underneath is like, but enough to sustain, with regards to the growing medium I created, it's enough to sustain some growth of some lovely vegetables that I've been eating for quite a few months now. Okay, so that's what the soil looks like that's there, all the stones down here. Look, you can see what it's kind of light up a bit so you can see it. You can see what it's like, as opposed to the non-dig or no-dig growing medium I laid on top. Stony, sandy soil, and starting to get there now with the size of the hole. Okay, so we're going to now be getting this tree out of the polytunnel. I'll lift it up a bit, probably give you a here we go, look at this, it's like some sort of comedy show, isn't it, getting this out of here. So you can see the size of the root ball there, so yeah, quite a established root. I've got to try and get this out of here without destroying the polytunnel, the grapevine, the tree, the anything really. There you go. So far we have some success. Okay, so here's the tree, and actually when you see it outside of the the polytunnel, you can see just the size of it really. So it's going to go in there, and I'm just going to do some roots in like that. So yeah, it looks okay in there really, doesn't it? So going to now be getting some of the old soil like this and just proceeding to cover it, to get a bit of weight on there so that stays, and then put the camera a little bit closer. That's quite a good view, isn't it? So yeah, going to use the old spade here, put the old growing medium back into the hole. When you do these trees like this, you move them, plant them, whatever, you want to make sure that you pack it down tight. You don't want to have air around the roots. So if the soil was dry, I would have gave it some water, but it's not too crucial. Certainly if you're setting trees in summer, hot grown trees, whatever, in summer, you certainly want to be making sure that you water them and regularly water thereafter, particularly if we continue to get summers like the ones we've just had, because it really was a long, hot and dry by UK standards. It's going to really, don't be afraid to give it a good old bash. I'm just going to put it down using the old sledgehammer. I really want to make sure that this is in properly, because this tree, as I stated, it might even be longer than 5 years on and off, but it's quite a tree really. I want to give it as good a chance as it can possibly have. Okay, so it's a little bit on the wonk because it grew on the wonk because it was in the polytunnel. So I'm just going to try and hit it down here. for a little bit. But yeah, it's looking pretty. Doesn't look out of place here, which of course I'm quite happy about. So yeah, there you go. There is one moved cherry tree. So I'll just show you something. When you set a tree, you want to, the rootstock here, you don't want it to be covered because it's part of the tree which is meant to be above the ground. So you can see that's the rootstock from where my finger is to here. You can see where they budded or grafted it here. But there to there, look, you want that above the ground. So yeah, all in all, I'm happy with that actually. That looks okay actually. I think it looks very good where it is. I'm very happy. No problem. Let's cast the old camera up there. Oh dear, a bit of collateral damage there, look. Doesn't matter, I'll get the old secateurs on that and prune that off. Probably do that now actually. There we go. And there, look, a bit of damage. You don't want to leave, what should I call them, wonky tears or anything on a tree, because the tree can't heal as well, and that's when the disease can get in. So I'm just having a look over the tree, and oh, here you go, just another little bit there, look. No big deal, is it? Going to remove that, but that was dead anyway. That just was brittle and broke, so it's gone as well. And because of that operation, got to fill that hole back in. Probably will get some of the dirt from outside to do that. I've now got space so that I can have another setting station. So getting ready for the spring and some epic setting. Take care. Okay, so there is the moved minarette tree. Now, looks quite good actually. Imagine it if this tree, this just proceeds to thicken up and these branches don't grow out too much to the side. Just imagine what, how lovely this will look when it's all blossoming in the spring. So hopefully it will blossom out. It would be lovely if it did. I mean, probably the correct advice would be to remove any blossom, because so this year the tree can establish, in its new position, so it doesn't spend much of its energy, producing blossom and setting fruit. But me being me, I might just be inclined to leave it. But I hope this does survive. I believe I've got the tap root out, and as you saw, I've got a lot of the fibrous roots out as well. So this tree should have a good chance. But the only thing is, if and when this does fruit, it'll have to be covered up, because the pigeons in particular, birds, will proceed to strip the tree of its fruit, and I don't really want that. So there you go. So a bit of a lesson there as well. So make sure you plan. Of course, things come into one's brain after it's happened, things you want to do, and you may have already done something that's going to make that more difficult, hence me having to move this. But to make sure you ideally plan ahead as much as possible, and so you avoid having to disturb beautiful trees like this, really. So yeah, happy with how it turned out, and I'll be even happier if it survives and flowers and then fruits. But if you've got any questions, please feel free to post them below. And please feel free also to like, share and subscribe. So wish the tree luck. One very important thing, I'm going to be getting a stake. I haven't got one at the moment, but certainly before any high winds come, I need to stake this. General advice is with minarets to keep them staked or trellised or supported for their lifetime, but certainly whilst they're all newly transplanted and wobbling about like this, I'm going to get a stake and stake it. So you want to stake it as soon as you can, really. So enjoy your New Year's Day. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time.